Ankita, to begin with, you had recently mentioned how India needs to host more ITF 25 and above level events to help the players become more competitive, right? But something like TPL is coming up, Tennis Premier League. So, do you think will players like you and specifically you will get more exposure? What are your thoughts on TPL and being a part of it? So, what's a personal goal for you in this tournament?
I feel that leagues like these, they are definitely very important because it's played as a team event. And I feel when you come together as a team, people and audiences can connect even better, which is a bit difficult in individual sports. And as we know, tennis is mostly it's an individual sport. Apart from when we play for the country or in the games, we are doing all the things by ourselves. So I think this special thing that you are playing as a team, that gives a lot of boost to the sport. That's what it's going to do to tennis. So I think we need such leagues, and hope that we can have them regularly every year.
Absolutely. So, Ankita, for a tennis player on the tour, so how different or challenging it is being part of a franchisee based tournament like TPL? Because, as you mentioned, it's more of an individual sport and you keep on playing these different, tournaments, but then you come up in playing in such kind of a franchisee based tournament. So, does that change your approach, mindset of looking at such kind of tournaments?
Like I said, it's important for the sport. So all the elite players are coming there, are taking out time from their schedule. We all know that tennis is a sport where we need to travel, we need to compete for 25 to 30 weeks. And it's also kind of challenging and difficult to still adjust it in the schedule at the end of the year now, because in India we will also have women's ITF events and probably also men's events, so around this time. So it is actually a good time, but we have to manage it as well in our schedule. But sure, why not? And it's also a very exciting week. It's a different atmosphere for us as well, because like I mentioned, we go week in, week out, and we are mostly by ourselves. But here we have the team owner, especially we have the audiences. So I think that pumps us up a lot. And the atmosphere is really great.
So, right, you mentioned about, how these franchisee-based tournaments happen. So, in that sense, we have seen that other sports are also coming up with such kind of tournaments, and these kind of tournaments are picking up the pace. And with regards to tennis, we are seeing some different iterations like Lever Cup. So, do you think that it is something that's the future of tennis, or in a way, it's evolution of the sport in that sense?
I mean, tennis is mostly... it's an individual sport, so I don't know to what extent it's gonna make a difference, but because mostly even like in the Grand Slams and the other ITF events, it's just individual events, whether it's singles or doubles. You don't, like, for example, in badminton, you even if you're playing the regular events throughout the year, I think they travel as a team. So I think even if we are having such events like we have in badminton, and now even I think kabaddi and other sports are having these leagues, I think it definitely helps to some extent. Also, one more aspect is the financial aspect. So that in those regards also it helps us.
Yeah, so you mean that, it's eventually boosting up the players as well, especially in India when it comes to tennis, right?
Yeah, it's also helping the junior players, because they are getting the exposure of being with the senior players in the team. Uh, all the players who are going to come for the league
Yeah.
have, either been to the Grand Slam or they have participated at the Olympics. They've won a medal at Asian Games.
Wow.
So I know that, while growing up, when I would meet such a player, what kind of impact or motivation it has given. So overall, I would say that, there are a lot of benefits, and I would say that it's a great initiative by Kunal and Brunal to have this league and to get everyone together.
Picked up the point, how junior and senior players can interact with each other in such kind of tournaments. But when we talk about that, I just saw a post from you on Instagram that how you put up a beautiful post with Sania Mirza. So when we talk about Sania Mirza and your relationship, so Sania Mirza has been the flag bearer for tennis, and not only women's tennis, but now she's nearing her retirement. So what kind of influence she has put in your career, especially when we talk about her elongated career? So are you following her footsteps, and what is that motivation that you receive from her?
I think on this point, I can just go on and on, because I would say that I've been fortunate and lucky, and I'm grateful that I got the opportunity while growing up. She was the number one player in India. And then, like you mentioned, she was the flag bearer. I remember that once, when she was playing, she was supposed to play Serena Williams, and they were obviously flashing it on every news channel. So, I still have that memory so fresh in my mind. So that's the kind of impact she has put on, I mean, not just generally sports, but people who want to achieve a different path in life, I would say. And when it comes to me, I've been, I've had such a great experience playing with her in the Fed Cup, when we represented the Indian team. And also when in 2020 we qualified for the World Group playoffs. It was a historic moment, and it was for the first time that the women's team had achieved that. So, having that moment with her, and also it was the same time she came back after having a baby. So seeing Izhan there, and then seeing her compete, it's tough to describe in words how inspiring it was.
Yeah.
And even to have the chance to share the court with her in Olympics last year. And I was in Dubai around during April, and we were practicing together. And then it was really great. She invited me home because also I remember there was lockdown back here in Pune. So I was actually planning to come back after a tournament, but she said, hey, you can stay here and we can prepare and get ready. So like I said, I can go on and on, but definitely I would say that even me getting here, like you said, I can say that it's following her footsteps, and definitely I hope that I crack into the main draw of the Grand Slam soon.
Yeah, let's just hope for it, and all the best wishes to you for that as well. Because as I mentioned, Sania Mirza's, she's nearing the retirement, so that's a legacy that you would like to continue, isn't it?
Uh, I would say that it's you cannot compare. In
Absolutely.
sports or generally, two different persons, two different individual, the challenges she's had, and we've had two different journeys.
Absolutely.
So I mean, she's a legend. Obviously, uh, it'll be a dream to accomplish so many things which she has been able to. So I think it's just special what she's had and what she's achieved and given to tennis, given to India.
Absolutely. So, Ankita, you have been India's top ranked women's player for a fair while now, and there are a few others who are also coming up. But, when we see it from larger lens, then Indian representation, on the tour is very sporadic. So, from a general game point of view, what do you think is lacking? Something you personally are looking forward to improve, or as you earlier mentioned, that how our country needs to come up with different kind of tournaments. So, what is that something that you are looking forward to?
I think it will be having more tournaments, having more international events in India. Definitely, that will help to a different extent. I've seen, when I've traveled so many years to Europe or other countries, and I've seen a player, and then in the beginning of the year, and if that country is having back to back or like some regular events every year, and by the end of the year the player has had such a huge jump in rankings, because it saves the traveling expenses, and then you're playing in your own country, so that has definitely a different impact. And last year we didn't have many events or any events, so also owing to COVID, and that situation was completely different. So definitely having more tournaments, like now I mentioned, we are going to have two ITF events, and then beginning of January, in January we have two more. So that's what we need, and we need that consistency, I feel.
Absolutely. So you talked about, the last year, but this year we saw some really good events also. But Ankita, from your own personal development point of view, 2022 has been relatively low key from singles, but on doubles you have won 4 ITF titles, right? So what is your focus right now in singles or doubles? And is there any specific reason for it?
I would say that generally 6 to 8 months of the year, it wasn't good. I mean, from both sides, singles and doubles, because I also broke into top 100 of doubles last year. So that was that. But I feel, now I feel I'm in a much better position from Korea Open, which was in September, I think. The performance has been better, and I feel I'm back in rhythm now. So yeah, with both singles and doubles.
So is this something that you really like for? Is there inclination for singles or double? Is that so? Something like that?
Both. I've always, if you see my profile on ITF, I've always competed in singles and doubles. And I've always said this, that the doubles has helped me improve my singles. Yeah.
So on that point, Ankita, my last question to you. So what's your goal right now? What are you aiming at? Everyone has that big goal in mind, always somewhere or the other at the back of mind. So what is your big goal you're looking forward to?
My immediate goal is to get back to the ranking I had, and to get into the main draw of the slams, like I said. And also, if we have Asian Games, we have Asian Games coming up next year. If that is conducted, then to have to replace my bronze medal, which I won in 2018. So definitely that will be goal for the coming year.
Well, absolutely. We all wish you for that. And thank you so much, Ankita, for talking with us. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.